So first question was, what was the most memorable event out of all 4 years? The people, I guess, like all the activities that happened in there. So it was a pretty good time over there. So yeah, I guess that would be the most memorable out of all four. How like the environment around the class, and just it gave me a little bit of realization of what I'm dealing with. So move on to the second question. Okay, so what were the most difficult things you had to accomplish? The most difficult things were usually when it comes to like projects and mistolls, Spanish, you had to go up class and presentate, show your presentation. That would always give me some kind of anxiety. I happened to step outside, take a breather from all of that. So yeah, I guess that would be the most difficult thing. I guess just overall like finishing work, and even though they would give you a certain date, some teachers wouldn't give me a test the next day. Okay, those two, I mean, everything was in high school was difficult. You had to adapt to the environment and you had to adapt to certain aspects. Right, moving on to question 3. If you were to change something in high school, what would it be? So if I were to change something in high school, we would have these lunches. It would go first, second, third period, and then it would be first lunch. This changed around like the halfway, 2 years ago, around sophomore year. Changed it because they had a new principal and all that. So juniors and seniors should have some kind of first lunch, and then maybe the freshmen and sophomores should have like a second. I know this thing we used to have is Wednesdays. We used to have one lunch. That'll be it. All right, moving on to question number 4. Yeah, question number 4, what made you laugh the hardest at? Wow. As you guys know me, if you guys know me, I like to laugh. I'm a happy person in general. So what I like to laugh at is like those funny moments where like we're about to take a test and then someone makes a noise. That's the kind of thing I would laugh at. Those comments, I wouldn't really laugh at. I would like get pissed because like, what the hell are you saying that for? And then I would laugh mostly at like just the people. That would go back to question number 1. People actually made me laugh the hardest. Moving on to question number 5, what gave you the confidence to do certain tasks? So it gave me the confidence. For 2 years I was in a relationship in high school. You're mostly maintaining that relationship with your school. I mean, all right guys, I just had to cut the video because it wasn't focusing on my face, but relationship back in middle school and then go up to 2 years of high school. And then things weren't going the way we planned sophomore. So I was getting bad grades. I was not actually prepared to take on a relationship this serious. And some people can do that, I mean, props to them, but for me, it was more like I had to put her first. That was mainly your priority, was to keep her. We're all good friends now. Keep that in mind if you want to achieve something. Give me that confidence for the first 2 years. After that, I had just keeping yourself in check, and most, if you want to have in a relationship, you want to keep it level, I would suggest ask your partner. That would be my main reason. So moving on to question number 6, what will Rio Linda possibly remember you by? So I wasn't really known as an outstanding person. I wasn't known as the top 10. I was 38-ish out of 400 people. So I was getting the grades first after high school. I didn't really, nothing actually. There's no plaque of me. There's no name that will generate there. Probably one teacher, shout out to you, Miss Velez. He actually wrote our name first year teaching that class. So moving on to question number 7. If you could change one thing this year, what would it be? I guess this is responding to senior year, because I wrote this in the beginning of senior year. I would change my schedule because I was placed in a advanced set of classes. Socially, I wish I was more socially aware of all the people, because I think I had a chance in junior year to actually adapt to all these people, because that time I was getting to know more seniors than more other classes. Being socially aware of everybody else, because I know one person and then the other person would not know that person. It's kind of weird. So getting your name out there would be great. Participating in many activities, but I didn't really do that much. Moving on to question number 8. What is the 3 most important things you learned? I think I said this before. 3 most important things. I guess one would be yourself. Don't be someone that you want to be up to and then maybe you end up being like them. Be yourself, be curious. Like, you don't know what is gonna go on in high school, all right? They give you a warning of like, oh, the way you learn is the way these habits will eventually, you'll recognize them and then be like, oh, okay, I wanna fix this. I guess that would be my second thing, is be curious. Be yourself, be curious. I guess third thing would be, I don't really know. Question number 9, who is your favorite teacher and why? Oh man, I had to go back here for a minute. 2 teachers in, I think freshman year. Yeah, I think freshman year. I had this teacher named Miss Spire. I had to shout her out. Spire, she's an earth science teacher. And Miss Smith, she was an English freshman class teacher. Yeah, let's start out with Miss Spire. We had this thing, right? she would bring this bottle of water, right? It was a 3-pack. It came in that little plastic, you know, in the Coke can, and then she would drink it, right? And every time she would drink it, natural resources, that's what it was. Oh my God. So every time she would take a swig of that water bottle, she would just go, That would make her mad sometimes, I guess. Majority of social skills there in freshman year, so I allowed Miss Smith. All right. Shout out to the people in that class, man. That class, man, it was a 6th period. It was the end of the day. Everybody wanted to go home, even though we stayed after school for like, what, 20 minutes? So the first instance that we had about this teacher was, there was this guy called Michael, right? My dude. He would do things to her that would make her cry. I mean, she sounded like she was going to cry, right? She was like, oh my God, all right, come up now. I'm like, oh, you're gonna cry? And it burst into tears or something? I'm like, okay. There was this one time she was getting her coffee mug. It's like a coffee thermos, right? And then she would drink it, right? When she was not looking, let's say she went to help someone out in the class, Michael, he would sit next to her, right? So she was here, and then Michael was here, right? And I was all the way back here, right? And then he would steal the thermos, right? Threw it at the wall, and it splattered everywhere. First instance, and this is like, what, 2 months into the freaking class. I was like, right around the second time was, so she was walking, right, across the classroom. As soon as you know, he comes up and he trips her. 60 years old, okay? She was struggling here. She sounded like she was depressed. I mean, like, come on. Couldn't even talk at most times. Yeah, that would be, Michael would trip her. She would fall. Maybe sometimes she would land like this. And then the last time that happened in this class, this is the last memory I had. We were doing warm-ups, and it's a warm-up where like you had to fill in the blank, let's say with a word in the banks. She would call me up, right? She was like, Nick, come here. Yeah, hold on. And then she's like, come here now. And I was like, okay, I'm coming. And then when I'm about to stand up, right, she's like, go outside. I'm like, what the? So I go outside, and then she comes out and she's like, you're supposed to answer me the first time. I was going. Did you hear me? It's like so hard on herself. I just feel sorry for her. You don't teach her no more. After our years, you don't teach her. Mr. Willis, right? Freshman year, right? Things started to get real because this is 4th period. This is right before lunch. There's this one time Mr. Willis, a couch in the on the corner, right? We would just hang out there. It was an avid class, so we would just hang out there, just do nothing. And then this time I was learning. Oh yeah, Mr. Willis was I remember this one kid. He would cry, right? Socratic seminars, right? And then you would sit around a circle or an oval, debate about what's going on in your weekend, what's going on in your day, depressing thing. He would talk about that kind of stuff, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. So that class was pretty chill. I met a lot of cool people there. So sophomore year, it was pretty good. We had Mr. Wilson and Miss Lawrence, first period English teacher. It was kind of quiet in there at first. We'd bring her dog. Like, she found a dog, right? The dog would just stare at me. I think it actually bit my finger. Project, right? We had to go up. I think it was like a story or something, but yeah, I had to present, and you know, anybody who knows me, I present in a kind of like a TED Talk kind of way where I just walk around. I would just talk, right? And then she would catch like my word of language, you know, she would be like, maybe you're kind of funny. Oh, you should be a comedian. It was quiet too, right? It was just me and her talking. Okay, it was first period, no one wanted to talk, right? Taking into consideration afterwards, I was like, this is the time where you really wanted to explore on how can you adapt to some things, and you know, it just ends up like that. That would be Miss Lawrence's class. I think there was sometimes, oh yeah, she would smoke too. So for 5th period, this was 5th period, Mr. Wilson, world history. Okay, this is a chill class. No way I could have forget about this one, because at this time, sophomore year, the relationship has ended right around 6 months into sophomore year. So I was like, I would do things that I wouldn't interact with the teacher and all that, answer questions and all that. But this relationship it hit me like a freight train. At the same time, I learned a lot from, and I'm really grateful for finding out this girl, because you know you are. 5th period, I would just sit in the back, right? We had this guy named Eric. We fart all the time. I'm like, what? Brandon, Malik, Denise, Kimberly, Ryan. See, I still remember, like, this is like, what, 3 years ago now. Samari, Taylor, you know, everybody knew each other. Everybody knew what's going on. Because we would take these tests every Thursday. Except for Malik. I think Malik would do it like a 2, and then Mr. Wilson would roast and be like, all right, Malik, get a 5 yet? And it was a fun time. Channel 1 News. Mario probably watching this, but he was highlight of our end of the day every day. This class was, you know, a year high school, right? Flies. Shout out to those people, Mr. Wilson's class. Thank you. Yeah, junior year. So junior year, wow. It's like the most faded like year. So let's start with Miss Marina. So, you know, at this time, you know, this girl was, I would think about her from time to time, but It was nothing emotional kind of thing, you know, you get over it. At this time, I was actually talking to this one girl, so I was not really talking to her. She was kind of like, yeah, she moved like halfway through school year. I was like, oh, just wanted to talk to someone, relate. So I could find her attractive, but so junior year would pass, Miss Bressler's room, chemistry. See the steps in high school, they get harder and harder, classes and all that, but this guy named Kelvin, he would bring food like every day. I'm like, oh God, here we go again. Marina's, okay, so this girl, I would have class with her 4th and 6th period, right? I didn't really know you, you know? I didn't really recognize you. I don't know you. This one time where I would sit next to her, like, it's a row, it's 3 rows, 1, 2, and 3, right? I was on next to the board, so I was like second person on the first row. Feel her eyes on me, and I was like, I would look back. She would give me this look that she knew that I was out of a relationship, and I was like, I guess this was kind of like a conscious thing. So yeah, she moved like right around the last 2 months of the year, and I was like, so yeah, that would be junior year. Not really a lot of going on in senior year. You know, I just started focusing on myself and gave me a realization that my ex still goes here, right? But, you know, some relationship ends up in like a dark hole and like it just ends up being bad and all that. I was like, she didn't really hurt me. So, you know, things just didn't work out. Basically, I decided to shoot her a text and see how she's doing, you know, and talk. And then I would catch a glimpse of like our relationship here and there, but like, cause when someone makes you feel emotionally, like I could see how I impacted her. Other than basically talking to her, still good friends with her. You know, I don't have any hard feelings. This year is just basically just focusing on me, going in my life now. So whoever steps I meet across the way or along the way, I'll remember them. I'll remember how, like, I think that's about it for this question. Question number 10, list the biggest achievements, goals, accomplishments. So I basically said all that. Learning, absorbing a second thought and everything didn't feel right for me. Yeah, that would be my biggest achievement, was just to learn. My goals were to YouTube and all that stuff, just recording myself, because this is how I vent and this is how I explain most of what I'm talking about. I was in Avid and all that. Socially, I learned how be in a relationship where you don't get beat to hell with, be on good terms, because at the end of the day, you know, I'm sitting here. That's pretty much it for the high school recap. Oh God, pretty much it for that high school recap. To speak on that behalf, and I just wanted to vent out what I've been thinking and all that. So I want to see where I can go with this, and I hope that it gets far. So yeah, I'm gonna post more piano videos because I got my interface. If you guys saw that other video, go check it out. It's probably be like right there or something. And yeah, I'm just doing this more. Gonna get used to this camera, man. It's crazy, man. You know, this 4K and all that and stuff like that, man. Still getting used to it. So if you guys liked the video, please leave a like in the video. Please guys subscribe. Really meant a lot, man. Shoot. More vlogs, I guess. So I see you guys later. Have a nice day or weekend or afternoon. I don't care.